Welcome to this episode of Growing at Reiman Gardens. My name is Betsy Ennis and I'm the indoor horticulturist at Reiman Gardens. This week we'll be talking about making some simple holiday adornments for your home out of horticultural materials. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and show you a simple technique for making evergreen garlands. I've gone ahead and chosen white pine, noble fir, the Austrian pine, and the balsam fir. And I've just chosen those because it gives me a little bit different texture in the needles and adds interest. The first thing I did was I went through with my pruners and I cut the piles, so I had them all ready. And I can go ahead and just take bunches off that pile. My first step, I started with the white pine, just because it's got a longer straight needle. And I made a little bunch. I take paddle wire, which is a florist wire, but just sold on a spool. And I start that wire around my bundle of evergreen. I just wrap it around the stems until they're tight, wrapping repeatedly in a few places just to secure the wire until I'm all the way to the end of the branch. I've got my first bundle. I move to my next pile of noble fir and I take out some pieces and do the same thing. Make a little bundle, and this time I just added on top of the bundle that I made of white pine, and I continue to wrap it and wrap those stems together till everyone's flat. It's very important that you wrap all the way to the end of the branches, so you don't have any extra branches sticking out when you hang the piece. I'm working in front of the tape measure because I want to be conscious of how long I'm getting. The swag that I want to make will be 6 feet long. So this first rope, I will just work to 3 feet. I will then stop and begin again. And then I will attach the two pieces in the center. The point at which they're attached in the center will then have a bow. I'm going to be showing you how to make a bow. First step in making a bow is to determine which side is the right side. Most ribbon will have a side that's shinier and one that's dull. It's more obvious on some ribbons than others, and this is a more difficult ribbon to tell the side, but you can see that it's a little bit more sparkly on one side than it is on the other, so I'll use that side as the side that I want to go out. First thing I do is make a loop, and I try to judge what size I want my bow and make that first loop, and when I have the size where I would like it to be, I just pinch that ribbon together between my fingers. I'm right-handed, so I pinch it between the index finger and my thumb of my left hand. I then have a tail that's still attached to the ribbon roll, and I bring that out and around back to my index finger and my thumb on my left hand and try to match the size of the bow. I then pinch that into that bunch as well. At this point, if I did the same technique, the wrong side of the ribbon would be out. So as I've got it pinched between my two fingers, I twist the ribbon so the right side's out, and then continue to bring the loops around so that they match until I have the number of loops that I desire. You can vary the size of your bows with the thickness of your ribbon and the number of loops that you put on. A standard bow has 4 loops on each side. As I finish up my last loop, you can imagine I have a handful of ribbon now. But I also want to pinch that in, and I also want to twist it one more time, and then I bring that down, and that's going to be my first tail. I always cut my tails long because you can always cut them shorter and adjust them later. Then take the ribbon that I just cut and pinch that behind between my thumb and my index finger like I did the other loops, And I bring that tail out and I cut again. Taking a piece of floral wire, I lay it down where my thumb is and then fold it over. And that binds what was in my index finger and my thumb in between the wire. And then I twist. I usually will twist 2 or 3 times just to make sure it's secure. And there I have a bow. Wonderful for Christmas decorating, both for the trees and for packages. So you've had some fun making your cranberry kissing balls and also the garland, and you have some leftover materials. I've got some quick, easy ideas to use your leftovers with. I'm going to just cut a couple pieces of green. I want to make them short enough that it doesn't go all the way to the top of my vase. This is just a cylinder vase that you can pick up at a local craft store. Fairly inexpensive. And I fill the inside of my vase with those little pieces. You can do a couple different kinds of greens like we did in the garland, so you can get some different texture as well. Just going to slide a couple different things in there. I'm then going to fill that up with water. And because cranberries float, they create a really neat effect on the top as we drop the cranberries in. And add a floating candle at the top for a finishing touch. Another simple idea, if you don't want to use water, you can just pour the cranberries into a jar and tie a ribbon around. Is also makes a nice embellishment for the holidays. This would be nice on a side table or a grouping of all different heights of jars, of cylinder jars would be especially nice as a centerpiece as well. My third technique with the cranberries, if you'd like to do an arrangement in water, but you don't want the cranberries to float to the top, I put one cylinder inside a larger cylinder and then fill the space around the 2 jars with cranberries. As you continue to fill up the cranberries in the jar, you just fill it to the top of that center jar or vase, and then fill the center vase. You can then fill the center vase with water without the cranberries floating on the outside, which gives you the appearance of a cranberry vase. You can then use your greens in combination with other flowers as well and go ahead and do an arrangement right out of the vase. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Growing at Reiman Gardens. Hope you enjoy your holiday decorating. If you'd like to see more videos, please join us at reimangardens.com.